Damien, it's actually an honor and privilege to speak with you, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure, buddy. Good to see you.
This is a really big deal, man. Like, I've loved the movies. David's been on the show. Lauren's been on the show. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so I'm pumped, man.
Nice. Oh, very cool.
I mean, we can't get rid of Art the Clown, right? I mean, he's coming back. I mean, people are going to be able to go see Terrifier 2 again in theaters, right? We can't escape him.
Can't get rid of him. This people are having too much fun with that character, and then there's a lot more to say, a lot more to explore. So
I feel like it always starts, right? Where it's like this idea, then it's a script, then it's kind of what these characters are going to look like, what are they going to do? Is that kind of how it was for Terrifier with you specifically, or did you have it more fleshed out than people think?
no, not at all. It started with a very simple concept and idea. Just a horror movie idea of a clown terrorizing a woman all alone in the middle of the night on a city bus. Because it was something so sort of unsettling, but something that could actually happen, which is why I love the pizzeria scene in Terrifier, because that's before Art becomes supernatural. You don't know anything about him, and that's something everybody could relate to, is some weirdo just walking in and messing with you, and and it's just that's the kind of ideas that I like, and it just started there, and I liked it, and I said I have to keep I have to keep moving forward with that idea, and then it's all right. What does this character look like? And then I started working on the design and just trying to keep him as fresh. I mean, what else can you do in the killer clown realm? So I really tried to keep him as far away from Pennywise. That's where I started.
I feel like that's so funny that you say, what else can you do? Because you watch Terrifier, like, what else could happen? And then you're kind of like,
Yeah.
and you know what? Honestly, I'm a big horror movie guy. All my friends are as well. And I don't tell them anything about any of the deaths. Like, we don't talk about it. Like, I want them to see it, then we talk about it. You know what I mean? I want them to go fresh from Terrifier 2.
Yeah. Don't spoil it. Yeah. I was just saying to somebody else, if they haven't seen it and they're not necessarily a horror fan or a gore fan, just throw them right into Terrifier. Just throw them in the deep end and just throw them in and watch their reactions. That's the best way to do it.
Oh, 100%. And no, it's really crazy to kind of see where we're at right now with horror movies. And I find the Terrifier movies are very interesting, Damien, because these movies have a lot going on, but these are gory horror movies that have a lot of the traditional kind of things that we love. We're also seeing kind of filmmakers in the genre kind of go more psychological, go more head games. People are scary. What do you think currently about the landscape of horror these days, where there's a lot of different ways to scare people?
Well, I like that there's different subgenres of horror, because usually there's only one at a time that's really working. It's like it's the time for the torture porn movies, or then there's the time for the possession movies and the haunted house movies. Usually they don't mesh well. They have to bed for a while. So you're seeing like this big boom, this big renaissance of horror right now. There's just so many subgenres that are successful in the theater, and fans are going crazy for them. And horror movies are always typically low budget. They don't have names in them, yet people always flock to horror movies. I always say horror is probably the most consistent genre in cinema. Now, like I said, that type of subgenre always changes, right? Like the slasher movie will go away for a while, the possession movie will go away, but there's always some horror genre that's thriving or flourishing in cinema. I think it's a very powerful human necessity and extension of humanity that we have to experience fictional horror in our life to cope with a lot of things in reality.
100%. And I've seen a lot of interviews you've done, Damien, and you're a really humble guy. And I'm saying this is legit. I mean this. I mean, there's so many incredible kind of creatives and creative minds in the horror movie sphere right now, and it's an amazing time. And you are one of them. I think you are one of the most incredible kind of trailblazing guy in this industry right now for the filmmaking perspective in the genre. I truly mean that. And, I just wanted to know from that, because that's something I don't feel like that can be escaped. Like, it will come up sometimes where you'll meet people, you'll talk about things, and people say they're a big fan of it and everything. You were in that kind of boat at one point too, right? Where you were looking up to certain filmmakers. Like, it's pretty cool that it's like the tables have turned a little bit, right?
Sure, man. I still am. I haven't changed that perspective whatsoever. I still have major imposter syndrome, because when people listen, I hear it a lot. I can't lie. I hear a lot of people, they're like, dude, you've created the next horror icon, right? I hear that a lot.
It's 100%.
Thank you. I mean, I don't go around saying that, and I always say,
That's why I say it. We
yeah.
say it. You don't have to say it.
So listen, I do have people come up and tell me that and say, you're really doing things that John Carpenter and Wes Craven did and stuff. But like, I was just I was just at a horror convention, and I was part of a panel with Tom Savini and Greg Nicotero and myself, the three of us doing a director panel.
Oh, that's the squad.
Dude, I had no business being next to those guys, and I was just so nervous the entire time, and just looking up to them. I basically just became an audience member.
I mean, there's an argument that maybe Terrifier wasn't a thing if it wasn't for those filmmakers, right? If you think about it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The movie would not exist if I didn't discover Tom Savini.
Yeah.
Like, I tell him all the time, he is directly responsible for this movie, not because of like a killer clown, but just because when I discovered Tom Savini and what a makeup artist did at a very young age, right? That was a huge light bulb moment for me. And I said, that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. And then from that moment on, I was so obsessed with the artistry that went into gore effects.
Yeah, 100%.
Really the artistry and the effect that it could have on somebody, just being an illusion with corn syrup and mortician's wax. But
I saw a documentary about how horror movies were made, like when I was younger, and I don't get grossed out because I kind of know how it's made, right? I mean, I'm sure people, I don't think you could do an interview without people kind of talking to you about those headlines, about the fact that you made people throw up during Terrifier 2. I mean, I don't think that's ever going away, but I don't know if the people that know how it's done, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, it's true. But listen, when the illusion works and you suspend that disbelief, a movie could still affect me. I've had panic attacks in movie theaters watching movies that were just so well done and so intense, where I'm like, oh my, I'm changing as a human being. Like, I can't like experience them sometimes the same way I would when I was a kid. The older you get, the more intense these movies get. So I completely understand it. And I knew what we were doing in Terrifier 2 was really gonna.
Oh yeah, you knew what you were signing up for when you were making it, 100%. And I'm going to tell you something interesting about Art the Clown. You know what the thing that freaks me out the most, and I think is most captivating about this character, is the silence. Like, that truly is the thing that makes it scary. This is a character that, kills a lot of people. There's blood everywhere. It's very innovative. But the thing that really makes it scary is this, like, Mr. Bean, like, not really, like, talking at all. This silence. It's like he's just staring at you. Like, that's what freaks me out with this character.
I agree, and that's the main reason I chose to make him silent, because I always thought Michael Myers just standing there silent in the distance, and Jason was always creepier to me. And I always try and put my finger on why is that so effective, because it's always some sort of instinctual primal button that it's pressing. And I think that goes to us being in the jungle or the forest and just locking eyes just with an animal, in the woods that's 20 feet away, and you just see its eyes and it's ready to attack, but it's just waiting, and you don't want to move and you're afraid it's going to just strike at any moment. I think that's what it's tapping into.
100%. And Terrifier 2 is slashing back in the theaters starting November 1st. And I'm just curious because I feel like you're going to have a lot of different people going to see the movie. I feel like you're going to have people that have seen it before, want to go back and see it on the big screen. You're going to have the word of mouth we were talking about, right? Where they don't know much about it, they want to go experience it. I'm sure you're hoping for like the latter, right? For everyone. You want people to go see it again. You want people to, but like, what was the big kind of thing with it going back in the theaters? Did you want it to kind of be this like return to like that immersive kind of talk of the town? Like, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, no, I love it. It wasn't my idea. It was Cineverse who distributed the second movie. They really rallied it, and they were the ones who really got behind it originally and said, we're going to try and put this in the theaters. I never believed in a million years this movie was going to go into the movie theaters. The first one did it. The second one's unrated, 2 hours and 20 minutes. It just it's pretty unprecedented to get a theatrical release like that. So I think just because it did so well and the reaction was so good, And then, you know, Terrifier, the original, went back in the theaters a few months ago, and that did very well. So, you know, and it's just another, again, just attaching the teaser to Terrifier 3 to this now re-release is just a great way to keep the fans up to speed and just to hold them over until part 3 comes around. I think it's a nice little surprise for them.
Last year, we were in line at like a haunted house around Halloween, and we were in line. And you know, you talk about things in line, and we're talking about the fact that the next day on the Sunday, we're going to go see Terrifier 2. And then the people that weren't in our group, like in line with us, turned around and said, "Oh, we're also going to see Terrifier 2 tomorrow." Really? Yeah, I know. That's like the best, right?
It is too cool, man. It's too cool. I can't grasp it.
I remember that because it came out last Halloween-ish, right? Like it was last October, I believe, right? Yeah. So that would make sense. Yeah, it was last year. Time flies. And
Fine.
Now you talked a little bit about it in the beginning, so I'm hoping I can ask this because you know there's more to the story and everything. You know, Art the Clown's not going away. You know what I mean? We're hopefully getting more Art the Clown. Is there anything you could say about, you know, Terrifier 3 or like anything about that specifically?
Yeah, there's a few things. I could say the biggest spoiler right now because the cat's out of the bag and somebody leaked it a couple of days ago. Is that
I don't want to get you in trouble.
I mean, it's already out. So, but yeah, Terrifier 3 is Christmas based this time. So, yeah, which is a big shift in setting and atmosphere. But I think it lends itself to Art's shenanigans so wonderfully, and just to see Art's spin on it is going to be so exciting. Like I can't wait to jump into that world with this character. It's going to be so grotesque and hysterical and insane. We're going to ruin Christmas for a lot of people, I think. But we're also following the journey. We're continuing Sienna's journey, of course, because she's still on this sort of metamorphosis, so to speak. And now her and her brother Jonathan are dealing with, of course, the trauma of the events of part 2. And this one's also going to be the darkest and the grittiest one. At least I'm trying to shift back into the tone of Terrifier.
We're gonna have to play the waiting game for that, but they don't have to wait to go back to go see Terrifier 2 in theaters starting November 1st. We don't have to wait much for that one, right? We can go back and see Terrifier 2.
I can see it right away, and then you can see, and also you can see the teaser. You can just see when you see it visually, it's going to look different than the other two. I don't want to give away, but I'm excited.
Well, I appreciate the updates. No, just at the beginning of the movie, like in the beginning of the interview, you said, you know, there's more of the story. And I'm kind of like, I know what he's referring to. I got to ask him. But seriously, I can't wait for people to go back to see Terrifier 2, slashing its way back into theaters November 1st. Damien, seriously, it was an honor and privilege to speak with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you for everything you're doing and continue to do for the horror genre. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, buddy, man. This was a pleasure. It's so nice to get to speak with you.
Absolutely. So. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.